you doing? We are so glad that you're here. Welcome to Eliot Chapel. If you are an immigrant, a refugee, or a person without documentation, you are welcome here. If you are black, brown, white, indigenous, APIA, whatever your origins, you are welcome here. If you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. If you have a disability, visible or invisible, you are welcome here. If you've been here 100 times or this is your first time, you are welcome here. If you want for nothing or struggle every day, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or your gender identity, you are welcome here. For this is a community of diversity and of love and of justice, and it is good to be together. I'm Lisa Pavia-Hegel. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm glad to be with you today as your liturgist, whether you're here in Kirkwood or one of our virtual seekers online. Joining me is our assistant minister, Reverend Dee Evans, who will deliver our message. Our welcome people, Yvonne Serbel and Tim Gardner, and Carol Glouser, who is our Sunday pastoral care. Carol, wave. Yay, there's Carol, yay. If something is weighing on your heart, she will be available in Adams Hall after the service. If you have young children staying with you during our service today and they get restless, we always have the service streaming in Fellowship Hall, and they can have the run of the place. Please feel free to move there if necessary, because then they can be all they want. They can run all they want. Now let us enter into a spirit of worship.
The summer smiles, the summer knows, and unashamed she sheds her clothes. The summer smooths the restless sky, and lovingly she warms the sand on which you lie. The summer knows, the summer's wise. She sees the doubts within your eyes, and so she takes her summer time. 'Tis the moon to wait and the sun to linger. Twist the world round your summer finger. Let you see the wonder of it all. And if you've learned your lesson well, there's little more for her to tell. One last caress, it's time to dress for fall.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. We light a chalice when we meet to signify that we are entering into sacred space. Our chalice lighting words today come from Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Welcome to this place where certainty transforms into questions. This place that takes what is and imagines what could be. Welcome to this space where what was fixed begins to shift, where rigidity embraces unfolding as we join in the dance of transformation. Welcome to this moment of change, where together we transfigure and transcend together. Please rise and body your spirit for our first hymn, Come, Come, Wherever You Are, at number 188. And then after the hymn, please remain standing for our congregational covenant.
Before we
This is a round. We will be singing it as a round. We're singing parts 1 and 2. I will be singing part 1, so I will enter first, and then Pam will follow me, and Beth will be singing the ostinato. Please sing whichever part you feel most comfortable with. Pick one of us, follow one of us, you will be good to go. We're going to sing it once in unison and twice as a round.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Come yet again, come.
Don't worry, it's a new order. We're all getting used to it. It's all right. Change is good. All right. In Unitarian Universalism, covenants are the sacred promises we make for how we want to be with each other. Please join with me in reading our congregational covenant printed in your order of service. As a free congregation, we promise to one another our mutual trust and support. To create beloved community, we promise to be kinder to each other than we have to be, to listen fully to each other with an open mind and heart, to speak responsibly and respectfully, and to find ways to improve our church for all of our members and friends. Now,
this morning we have our wisdom story. Will the children please come forward? Good morning. I learned something this morning. I looked up and I didn't see any children but one, and I thought, oh my goodness, how can that be? And then I saw you all come from upstairs. So I learned that. Our wisdom story today is called Homer's Wings, and it's by Caitlin Cotter Koilberg. Come and join us. I don't know if it happened this way, but I do know that it's true. That long, long ago and far away, or more likely recently and nearby, high up in the mountains on a black cherry tree, an egg was laid on a leaf. And in the light of the full moon, out of that egg hatched a little brownish caterpillar with white markings that would look to any bird who might happen by like bird droppings. The caterpillar's name was Homer. Homer looked around and in surprise and wonder to find himself alive in the world. "Better eat your egg casing, little friend," said a black and spiky caterpillar nearby. Homer did just that and then turned to look at his new friend. "Welcome to the world," said the other caterpillar, whose name was Alex. "It's delicious. Here, try some of this leaf." Together, the two caterpillars munched on leaves that spring through the rain and sun, sunrises and sunsets. They laughed together at the antics of baby birds and hid under leaves that the black, spiky caterpillar had collected so that parent birds did not catch them. Alex taught Homer all he needed to know about life on a leaf, how to stay safe, how to munch, how to enjoy the feeling of the wind stirring the tree and the sun slowly warming the mountains each morning. Together they gazed each night up at the beautiful moon. Boy, didn't Homer teach Alex a lot of things. But one day, the black spiky caterpillar started something totally new and different. "What are you doing?" asked Homer. Alex carefully put down the cell on the underside of a twig in the newest collection of leaves and began hanging upside down. Can you just picture Alex hanging upside down from that leaf? "Making a chiralist," said Alex. "A what?" "You'll see." And over the next couple of days in the shelter of the leaves, the spiky black caterpillar shifted and shed its skin and became a strange, lumpy, brown thing hanging there, not making any conversation. What could this mean? For a week, Homer munched quietly by himself, watching the strange brown thing that used to be his friend, wondering and worrying as the strange, lumpy brown thing shifted in size and color and pattern. Then one day, out of the strange brown thing pushed an even stranger new creature. Homer watched as this new creature plumped blood into its black and white and orange wings, and unfurled a strange new mouth. "What?" cried Homer. "Who?" The new creature turned and looked at him. "Oh, little friend, it's still me, Alex. The one you laughed and hid and munched leaves and watched the moon with. But now I'm a butterfly, an admiral butterfly, to be specific," Alex said proudly. And that is our story of how change can happen. So you all have a good day as you go to your classes. Now, as the children go, we sing to them, so let us join in our sessional. Our prayer today is by Reverend Sally Ficht. May we release ourselves from the need to fit every truth neatly into our own language. May we occasionally forget ourselves long enough to remember each other. Let us enter into a time of silence for the prayers and meditations of our heart. Let us speak the names of those we would hold in care. Amen and blessed be. Please remain seated for our meditative hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life.
We will sing this through twice. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Each week, we give half of our offering to an organization in the community that lives our core values. This month, our shared partner is Ready Readers. We learned last week that what they do is help children learn to read because they strongly believe every child should know how to read. You're welcome to donate through the plate or online using the QR code on the screen and in your order of service. Let us be a generous people. In dedicating this offering with the words printed in your order of service. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our offerings. and these are offerings.
Our reading today is called For Nothing is Fixed, adapted from Nothing Personal by James Baldwin and Richard Avedon. For nothing is fixed, forever and forever and forever. It is not fixed. The earth is always shifting. The light is always changing. The sea does not cease to grind down the rock. Generations do not cease to be born, and we are responsible to them because we are the only witnesses they have. The sea rises, the light fails, lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us. The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us, and the light goes out. Good morning. I'm just doing this to be ready so that we just go right back into it. Sorry. Nothing to.
Yeah, we're doing technology here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I can't start, can't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Some people long for a life that is simple and planned, tied with a ribbon. Some people won't sail the sea 'cause it's safer on land. To follow what's written, but I follow you to the place unknown, off to a world we call our own. Hand in my hand, and we promise to never let go. We're walking the tightrope, high in the sky we can see the whole world down below. We're walking the tightrope, never sure, never know how far we could go. But it's all an adventure that comes with a breathtaking view. Walking the tightrope with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. Ooh, 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 with you. Mountains and valleys and all that will come in between. Rivers and oceans, you pull me in, and together we're lost in a dream. Always in motion, so I risk it all just to be with you. So I risk it all for the life we choose. Hand in my hand, It's all an adventure that comes with a breathtaking view. Walking a tightrope with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. With you.
John Murray is considered to be the founder of Universalism in the United States. Now some, as John Burns, would dispute this. However, Murray's story is significant because of one of the lessons he teaches. His lesson is that it is important to change our minds. John Murray was born in 1741 in Alton, Hampshire, England. His family moved to Ireland. His parents were very religious and believed in the Calvinistic theology. Following his parents' beliefs, Murray became a fiery Calvinistic preacher in Ireland. For unknown reasons, in 1760, he returned to England, where he joined the London Tabernacle Church. At Tabernacle, he heard about a woman of high reputation that was ensnared by the teachings of a minister, James Relly, who had been thrown out of Tabernacle Church. Relly believed in salvation for all. John Murray decided to rescue the young woman from such falsehoods and blasphemy. But the young woman spoke to Murray about her new beliefs. She believed that it was only logical that Jesus saved all, not just certain believers. If Jesus did not save all, then why ask unbelievers to believe in him? Murray did not know how to refute this logic. The idea of universal salvation was radically different from the Calvinistic idea that only some predestined persons were saved. After this meeting, Murray was so disturbed that for a while he avoided Universalists. Then he began to read Raleig's writings and became convinced that Universalism was in fact correct. All are saved. His adoption of the universalistic theology is the first example of Murray changing his mind. This change did not happen overnight. Rather, he studied Raleig's writings, he discussed them with Universalists, and he became convinced that they were the way to go. Murray began preaching universalistic theology, and for this, he was rewarded by being thrown out of the Tabernacle Church. In addition, his other colleagues rejected him. Shortly after this conversion to Universalism, Murray's young child became ill and died. Subsequently, his wife died. Now, unable to preach in the places he did because he was ostracized from the places he used to preach, Murray had no money to pay the debt left by the illnesses of his wife and child. So he was put into debtor's prison. He was depressed and he was suicidal. Murray made two decisions. One, he was going to go to America, and the other was he would never preach again. Once released from debtor's prison, he left on the ship with only two things: some little bit of money and his Bible. Now, John Burns, in his book, Universalists and Unitarians in America, calls the next episode in Murray's life of almost biblical character. The ship that Murray was on, bringing him to the United States, ran aground in New Jersey. Now, there's two different versions, or at least two that I could find, different versions about why Murray left the grounded ship and went into town. Both stories agree that he was directed to the home of a man named Thomas Potter. Potter had built a meeting house for Universalists 10 years before Murray arrived. Evidently, seeing Murray's Bible, Potter presented Universalist beliefs. Murray admits he's a Universalist. Potter says he waited 10 years for a preacher, and Murray was it. Murray refused to preach, saying he hoped to be gone when the wind changed. Potter pointed out that he was here now, and his ship was still stuck. After much discussion, Murray agreed to preach if the ship was still stuck by Sunday. This is the second time Murray changed his mind. It may have been a reluctant change because Murray thought he would be off by Sunday. It doesn't matter. He changed his mind, and he ended up preaching. It was that Sunday morning at Murray Grove Universalist Retreat in Lanoka Harbor that Murray got back his desire to preach. Lore says that right after the sermon, the wind changed and Murray was able to proceed to New York. From New York, Murray eventually made his way to Gloucester. There he became the first Universalist minister of a church. In 1786, the state Supreme Court agreed with Murray, who fought a battle to rid the church of taxation, and he won. If for no other reason, this is why Murray is seen as one of the founders of Universalism in the United States. Churches were not taxed at that time, and Universalism was therefore seen as a religion. After this victory, Murray went on to lead a church in Boston. The life of Murray is an invitation to change one's mind. He radically changed his mind about his theology and about preaching. Now, I believed two things. One was that Unitarian Universalists were a group of people that changed their minds. I believed that because this ability seemed necessary for a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, which was one of our principles and is still part of our pluralism value. If one could not change one's mind, then it would be fruitless to search for truth and meaning. One would just continuously hold on to what one believed. The second thing I believed is that I easily changed my mind. I believe this because the profession of psychology is based on scientific research. As research improves or changes, therefore the practice of psychology changed. And when I became a Unitarian Universalist, like other UUs in my search for truth and meaning, I learned to change my mind about what truth was and what meaning was. Then came the vote in the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly to investigate the need for changing Article 2 of our Unitarian Universalist bylaws. At the time, I did not think a big change would come out of this investigation. After all, we had those principles for decades that were in Article 2. In fact, we were going to add an eighth principle. Then I started to hear that the committee working on Article 2 might replace the principles with values. Frankly, I was appalled. The principles were guideposts for me. They became my guideposts for what it meant to be human, my guideposts for what it meant to be a good person, my guidepost for right action, my guidepost for right thinking, my guidepost for what it meant to be a Unitarian Universalist. How dare they touch my principles? Now, I was not the only one who thought this way. I heard from congregants of various UU churches, on Zoom meetings of UU groups, and from my UU friends that they too were appalled that this was happening. Then someplace, I don't remember where, I saw an invitation. The invitation was to give the committee feedback on the drafts of Article 2. Oh, you want feedback, I'll give it. When I got on the Zoom meeting to give input, two things became apparent. The people on the committee had thought out the changes. Secondly, they really listened to feedback. At the first meeting, I saw my feelings and my questions about the change reflected in the feedback of others. It seemed that many of us were like Murray, who initially avoided Universalist. We were really leery about this change, and we wanted to avoid it. We were not sure it was the right thing to do. Then in the next draft, it became apparent that the committee listened to the feedback. They made changes in the draft of Article 2. If they could listen to us, could we listen to them? In other words, like Murray, many of us changed our minds. Like Murray's change, it may have initially been reluctant. Not everyone agreed. I believe Article 2 passed around 78% at our General Assembly. So I started to wonder, how did this change occur? How did people follow Murray's example to change our theology and change what we do? Now, these are only my observations on how one changes one's mind in a specific situation. It's not a scientific study. Yet I think these observations may have some relevance on how we look at change, not only in our denomination, but in our congregations. I hope they are helpful. I believe the first thing required to change our minds is to be honest with ourselves about how we think and feel about the change. Now, we may not always need to communicate our thinking and feeling, but having clear thinking helps us know when we should communicate our reservations about change. Now, I don't like the idea of differences seen as battles. Some differences are not important to argue about, but the idea of knowing when to pick our battles is an important concept. So, being very clear about how we feel and think and what is important to express ourselves is the very first thing about how we change our minds. Secondly, in the feedback sessions on Article 2, I noticed people always respected committee members and the work they were doing, even though they may have disagreed with the work that resulted. However, they talked to the committee, not with animus or attack, but kept to the issues. I believe that this is what helped the committee listen. So I suggest when we have to deal with change in our congregations, we address the issues and not attack the person. Now, I know some people would say, I would never attack someone. But let me give an example, a concrete example of what I mean. Once in another congregation, someone said to one of the board members, just because you are a board member does not mean you know everything and you can just flaunt your authority. The board member felt personally attacked, even though the change he presented was one that the board had made. I do not know about you, but I find it much easier to accept that someone disagrees with me if they express disagreement with my ideas or my actions, but don't attack who I am. Now, this respect for others' ideas leads to the next point. So, my third point about changing our minds is if we are respectful of others, they feel freer to communicate to us why they think their idea is a good one. That communication may then, as a result, open our minds about why the change is good. Fourth idea about how we change our minds is that when I disagree with others, sometimes it's hard for me to listen. I went into those feedback meetings on Article 2 feeling appalled that anyone would touch the principles. Then I saw others really listening and followed their example to listen despite my feelings. And this sort of circles back to point number 1. Be aware of our own thinking and feeling, because being aware helps us to put those feelings aside in order to fully listen. Murray was able to put his feelings aside about preaching to listen to Potter and preach a sermon that Sunday. Fifth, John Murray, despite his initial disagreement with Universalist theology, decided to study the writings of Raleigh. It was this study that led to his changing his mind. So to change our minds, both on an individual and congregational level, can help us decide if and to what extent we want to change our minds. Finally, changing our minds may not only involve study, it may also involve experimentation with the ideas. In some way, Murray's sermon on that Sunday was an experiment. He preached, and in that experiment, he gained his love of preaching back. And in my being in those meetings, I came to love Article 2 and all the changes in it. So my very unscientific reflections for following Murray's example for changing our minds involves the following. Be aware of your own feelings and thinking about the proposed change. Respect those who are proposing the change. This respect allows others to open our minds about why the change may be valuable. Listen to what others are saying and put aside our feelings so that we can clearly listen. Study the proposed change, just as Murray studied Raleigh's writings, and experiment with acting on some of the proposed changes just as Murray did one more time. I agree with Burns. Others had already presented Universalist ideas in the United States. But it was Murray who established these ideas in Gloucester and Boston. It was Murray who fought to have Universalism seen as a religion by the state Supreme Court. So if Murray had not changed his mind, Universalism may have never been established in the same way in the United States. Putting the ideas of separation of church and state into practice may not have taken root so firmly if Murray had not fought his battle. So for these reasons, I still honor Murray as the founder of Universalism in the United States. Murray's ability to change his mind is an example to us. It is an invitation to change our minds. And may we, as Unitarian Universalists who can change our minds, make the impact he had in his world on our world. Amen and blessed be. Please join us in singing hymn number 1, I've Got Peace Like a River. I'm sorry, I said number 1, 100. Thank you.
It is a number 1.
And for this hymn, we'll be singing verses 1, 2, 3, and then 6. So if you skip right down to the bottom underneath the music staves, it's got verse 6 down there. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joys like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
Please join me in extinguishing our chalice flame with the printed words in the order of your service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. We carry these until we are together again. Please be seated for one final musical.
Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck, the same to you. And I won't regret what I did for love, what I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Gone, love is never gone. As we travel and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't regret, can't forget what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love.
Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today. If this was your first visit, I really hope it was meaningful to you. Please fill out the guest form before you go. There are hard copies at both entrances, and there's a QR code in your order of service, or if you're online, on the screen. We also will have coffee hour out those doors. If you take a blue cup, we'll make sure to warmly welcome you. Also going to be in Adams Hall this morning, there will be a table where you can help You the Vote, the St. Louis League of Women Voters, and Vote Forward write letters and postcards encouraging people who live in underrepresented communities to get out and vote this November. Together, we can make sure everyone has a voice on Election Day. So please take a chance to check out that table in Adams Hall. And now, may the Spirit of life hold you. May love bless you, and may joy find a place in your days. Go in peace, and blessed be.